everyone. This is Joseph Propati, and I'm continuing my series of instructional videos on my game Pet Shop. It's a P&P game right now that's on Board Game Geek, and it will soon also be on the Game Crafter. So what I want to do is I'm creating instructional videos, giving an idea of the setup and how the game plays, the mechanics, and I wanted to go through a few turns. So right now this video is going to cover turn 3, which will be day 3 of the business. So the nice thing about this turn is it will pick up some of the customer service cards that have been played on the last turn, and we'll resolve those, so you get to see how those get resolved, and then we'll see what happens with some new customer cards. We have an extra employee, an extra trainee employee, so and we have also the office manager, so there's some more actions that we get to use. So let's go ahead, let's jump in. This is turn 3 on the game Pet Shop. So what we have is, first thing we do is we move our token tracker to the next day. And we have all of our employees, they start in the office. We have our office manager and our owner, and these are all of our actions. And the first thing you do on a turn is check your customer cards, any that are in play, and see if they're either going to be ongoing, meaning they have another day or multiple days left before they finish, or if they're on their last day and they finished up and you get to cash them in. The way you do that is you look at the customer card and see the dice. If the dice is showing a number higher than 1, you will change the dice to the next, or decrease the dice number to the next lower number, and that card will stay in play. These that have a 1, any dice that show 1 are cards that have been completed, and you'll be able to cash those out. And the way you do that is take the card, look at the customer service tracker, and then find that animal. Go ahead and pick them up. And now you know that this animal is the one that goes with this service, and we can go ahead and put these away. Take the animal counter, go ahead and put it in its pile. And then we know that this die was on the trainee because the trainee was the one that was performing the service. So we can go ahead and cash ourselves out the $5 from the bank. So we have our $5. And the last thing we do when we clear this customer service card out is, since we completed it, we will get the +1 reputation because we made that customer happy. So we moved the customer track, and now this card is completed. Goes in the discard. Put our dice back in the pool, and now we can go to this next customer card. So we look at the dice, they show 1s, so that means this card is completed. We look for the customer service counter, which is 1, so we take this animal. We can go ahead and clear those, and then we can clear this animal. Now we look and we see, okay, so what level of employee were these? They were both trainees, so we get $7 for the trainer of the grooming department and $7 for the kennels. So that will give us $14. So we take a 10, a 5, whoops, sorry, 10 and a 5, and then we take a 1 from ours, and there's our 14. So we can go ahead and clear these dice, put them back in the pool, and then again the last thing we do is we get the plus for the reputation, +1. So we get to move our track up 1. And again, this one is completed. This customer service cards that are going to be either ongoing or completed, that should be the very first thing you do on your turn. If you end up having a delivery or you have a salary you got to pay, that always happens after you resolve these cards. Okay? Again, if it had any number beyond it that was a 1, you would just decrease that die value. So we've got those completed. We don't move any employees yet until we see how many customer cards we're going to draw. And this one, since we're on 3, we still draw 2. So we'll go ahead and draw our 2 customer cards. Alright. Now first things first, you always have to perform the event. Now this event is trainee just up and quits. Remove a trainee token and action cube from the board, placing the token back in the employment agency. Ah, that's a bummer. So what that means is one of our trainees and the cube are gone. They go back into the agency and into the pool. And the other bad thing is we get -2. So again, event cards happen immediately. You got to deal with those. Now, if you'll see on here, it says your choice of trainee. So you can pick any one you want. So that resolves that card. Now we have our kennel card. And this is accept a stray. A customer drops off a stray animal, draw an animal card from the deck and place it in the kennel. So this is like if you were getting a delivery and you ended up getting one animal. So, but the nice thing about this is we don't have to pay for it. And we get some positive reputation. Now you'll see there's also a negative reputation. This would happen if you either didn't have space in the kennel, you couldn't play an action cube, you had no employees that could be placed in the kennel to actually take in the animal. That is when you'd get the negative. So we do have plenty of space. So we'll go ahead and draw an animal card. And we will look for that kitten in our animal cards. So we have 2. Alright, and we will place that in the kennel, like that. Now we know that we can place an employee in there, so we're good with our coverage. And we need to use a action cube, because this employee now is using an action to take in this animal and process it, so to speak. So we get +1. So that kind of helps with that -2 that we got last time. And now this card is resolved. So the cool thing is, now that you've done your 2 customer cards, now you can start figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? I've got this animal, maybe I can start doing some upgrades. I have this trainee in here, he's covering the animal, but I also have my other trainee and I have some actions I can use. Now you'll look on the card, on this kitten, and you'll notice that there's 2 of these 3 departments that can be upgraded with at least trainees. Grooming and medical for the health. So let's go ahead and process these upgrades. So we'll take our employee, and the first thing we'll do is we'll go into medical. And now that we have an employee in the medical, we can actually transfer this kitten over here. And we'll see, okay, medical, we can do trainee. So we'll take an action cube to process this upgrade. Once we have that processed, we can put a cube right on the card. Now we still have a couple more action cubes, and we can do grooming. So what we can do is, you can take either the owner or this kennel employee, since there's no one in the kennels, go ahead and move them to grooming, and now you have 2 employees that cover both those. So you can move this kitten, and we take another action cube to process the upgrade for grooming. We take another white cube. And the nice thing about this is now if you sell this kitten, not only do you get the $31, and I'll show this. So not only do you get the $31, but now you've done these 2 upgrades. If you sell it now, you'll get the 31 plus the 5 and the 7 for those 2 upgrades. If you are able to increase the level of these employees, you can run through this process again and get more for the next upgrade. And if you become specialist, you can process this one and get $21 as an added upgrade bonus. So we've done those 2 actions. Now let's go ahead and move back to the kennel, because that's kind of where you want to put it since we've already done all our upgrades. Anywhere you see these white X's, that just means that field, that department can't do anything for that animal. And that trainee or this apprentice or that specialist cannot make that upgrade for that department. So we have 2 more action cubes. Let's go ahead and let's purchase another trainee since we lost one. So we'll go ahead and do this process. At action, we will spend our $10 and we will hire a trainee. Remember, when you hire an employee, they get an action cube. So that gives us 2 more action cubes, but we can't do anything here. We don't have any sales, so we can't sell anything. We don't have any employees that can do advertising, but we can do we can train one of our employees if we want, and we just want to decide which ones we want to train. So we can train either a salesperson, you know, the training that's running the kennels. You just have to make sure that that employee is in the area that you want to train him in. So in this case, let's do the sales and train the sales employee, so then we can start using the ability to advertise. So when we want to train, we're going to train this trainee to become an apprentice, and that's $20. So we take $20, pay the agency. Now we take our apprentice and we swap it out. This goes back to the agency, and we don't get another action cube because you're basically just training this same employee. So it's still the same action cube, nothing changes there. You've just got an employee with a little bit more ability. So now I can now hold 3 animals in sales, and I can also perform advertising. And I can actually do that right now because I have 2 action cubes. Let's see, we got 1. So because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go ahead and do that. Since our salesperson isn't dealing with any animals in the sales department, we're going to go here and we're going to do some advertising. And the way that works is an apprentice can use 2 action cubes in 1 turn, perform an advertising action, and raise the reputation by 1, like that. And that's the action. You can only do 1 of those in a turn. If this were a specialist, right? Well, then it would only take 1 action to raise it 1, and then you could do 1 more and raise it another 1. But it'd have to be a specialist. And that's all you could do. So we've performed our advertising, we've raised our reputation, we've used all of our action cubes, so there's nothing else really we can do for this turn. So we're pretty much in the cleanup phase. We don't have to pay anything, so we go ahead and we move all employees back to the office. Take all these action cubes, put them back in the action cube supply, and we look at everything else. Anything else? Anything cleanup? Nope, that's all we have to do for our cleanup. So this is what would end our day 3 of our pet shop game, and then we can move on to turn 4, and I'll show you about deliveries. So this resolves day 3 or turn 3. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.